rights activist and executive director of the Iranian and Kurdish women's rights organisation, Diana Nammi. Diana, thank you so much for taking the time on International Women's Day. It's important that we...
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. You know, questions still abound as to why we have to have International Women's Day. My view is it's a chance to shout about women's rights and a reminder every year. I don't know what your point of view is in terms of why it's still important to have this day.
In my opinion, it is important because it's just this one day that all women around the world coming out to the streets or whenever they can to celebrate a day of their rights and entitlement under the human rights, to celebrate it together. But I would like to say Happy International Women's Day to every woman in this world. To all those who fight in Afghanistan, in Iran, to come out against bullets, under the bullets and violence, actually, to celebrate today and give their unity with women around the world.
Yeah, it's very much about expressing solidarity with women who don't have the advantages of advanced women's rights that women have been fighting for generations. And you mentioned Afghanistan, and I just, in your introduction there, listed some of the countries where there are huge problems for women at the moment. In one sense, it feels like, you know, women take a step forward, but in some countries, it's 3 to 4 steps back at the moment. Perhaps we could first start by talking about Iran and what's been happening there over the last 12 months, and particularly this recent development of, it seems, young schoolgirls being poisoned in their place of education, either for simply daring to educate themselves or for speaking out and talking about women's rights.
Yeah, I have to say that to start, really give my tributes to all who lost their lives during this year, especially in fighting for women's rights in Iran. Of course, the Islamic regime, when they come to power, it was a tool for oppressing the very right revolution in 1979. And in the second day that they get the power, Khomeini come to the TV and say women has to cover themselves by hijab and should not be allowed to come out. Otherwise, they will be, of course, slashed, imprisoned, and throwing acid to their face, even stoning them to death or executing them. So over the nearly 44 years, women in Iran has fighting for their rights, has fighting for their liberation, has fighting against this very brutal and oppressive government. And over the past 60 months, with the death of Mahsa Amini, when she was arrested because government says, or morality police says, that her hijab is not properly worn. So they arrested her. In 2 hours, she fall into coma, and in 3 days she was dead, passed away because of torture they have done. And it sparked a revolution in Iran with the beautiful and very full slogan, women's rights, freedom, or Jian Azadi, that it's not only in Iran, but it's being a slogan all around the world. Because, first of all, I have to say that this slogan was very close to everyone's heart. From America, as you say, that women have been, you know, their very basic rights for abortion has been taken away. We are talking about 21st century. In America, that it should be, women's rights should be, very much implemented, respected. So countries like Afghanistan, women has been forbidden from going to school. They have been oppressed. In Iran, execution, killing women. And now you mentioned poisoning. There's very young girls, children in schools, because government really want to, first of all, to punish them. As Khamenei a few days ago in his speech say that these children is easy to punish them. So after what he says, this, in my opinion, is not just a simple poisoning, but they have been biologically chemically have been attacked. First of all, so far, 3 of those girls has been died because of this gas. And it's a way to keep them away, keep them at home, not at school, because in school, it is very easy for them to communicate and organize demonstration. At home, especially considering this situation that there is no reliable internet. So it's much harder for girls and for children and for boys, for the community to organize themselves to continue this revolution. And it is a way of punishing them. But considering all this violence from regime, women has been in the street. Today, we have seen videos coming out from Iran when women are demonstrating. And in 8th of March, they come out to the street to celebrate 8th of March and to giving, of course, their solidarity with women all around the world and for fighting for their rights, for their lives, which is the basic things for every human being in the world.
Yeah, Diana, thank you so much for talking to us about it. You know, as women in the West, you want to know what you can do to help on International Women's Day. You know, in the UK, we're talking about the gender pay gap. We're talking about, you know, access to childcare so women can actually go to work. And there are other battles being fought in other countries that it's important to highlight. And in the West, we can shine a light on that. And I feel like we're doing that this afternoon by talking about it today with you. Diane, Nammi, thank you so much for speaking to us here on Sky News. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.